Hello, everyone. Before we begin, I want you to take a moment and notice how you're feeling right now. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're a bit unsure about what's coming next. Whatever it is, I want you to know that you are exactly where you need to be. You're here because deep down, you crave growth. You want to break free from the limits holding you back. And that desire, that spark of hope within you, is already proof that you have what it takes to move forward. We all have our weaknesses. I'm certainly not the strongest, the fastest, or the most flexible. I don't claim to be the smartest person in the room. I often get emotional over small things. I eat junk food even when I know better. I don't always get enough sleep and I procrastinate more times than I care to admit. My ego can swell when it should stay in check, and sometimes I worry too much about trivial matters while ignoring what truly matters. All of these flaws make me feel small and stuck at times. But here's the truth. Your weaknesses do not define you. In fact, they can become your greatest strengths if you fight to turn them into stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. Let's start by admitting our flaws without shame. Too many of us hide our weaknesses, wishing we were born different, taller, faster, smarter, more confident. But denying our weaknesses only gives them more power over us. When you face your flaws with honesty and compassion, you take away their secret hold on you. You see them clearly for what they are. Challenges to overcome, not chains to shackle. Your potential. Think about the gazelle and the lion. What's the only difference between them? The lion chases the gazelle, forcing it to run. If the gazelle stopped running, it would be caught. Many of us live like that gazelle, only moving when someone is behind us, prodding us into action. As soon as the pressure stops, we stop. So the first lesson is to find your own reason to run, to discover your personal why. Why are you pushing yourself? What drives you when nobody is watching? When you connect with a purpose bigger than fear or habit, you unlock a powerful source of motivation. That purpose can be anything. To support your family, to build your dream career, to prove to yourself that you can rise above how you started. Hold that purpose in your mind like a torch in a dark tunnel. Whenever you doubt yourself, bring that torch back to life by reminding yourself why it matters. Next, treat every chance you get as if it's your last. Every time you face a new challenge, whether it's a job interview, a presentation, or a push-up you've never tried, tell yourself, this is it. This is my moment to shine. Why? Because complacency kills growth. The moment you think, I've done enough, is the moment you stop evolving. And once you stop evolving, you start decaying. Your mind and body need constant stimulus to stay sharp and strong. Meet each opportunity with full focus and full heart. So, when you lace up your running shoes, for the 100th time, don't say, I've run so many miles before, this one doesn't matter. Say instead, this is the one that defines me today. Approach every effort with fresh energy. Make each training session, each page of study, each sales call feel like your only chance. Work like someone's watching even if they're not. That level of intensity will sharpen your skills faster than half-hearted effort ever could. Of course, sometimes that intensity triggers fear. It's normal to feel nerves before a big moment. You might think, I've done this hundreds of times. Why am I still so nervous? Here's the answer. Nerves don't mean you're unprepared. They mean you care. They mean you respect the chance you've been given. The day you lose those nerves completely, you'll also lose your edge. You'll stop paying attention to details. You'll stop pushing to improve. So embrace the nerves. Channel them into excitement. When you feel your heart pound, smile and think, I'm alive, I'm in the game, and I'm ready. Let's talk about fighting. Life is a constant battle against time slipping away, against your body's limits, against self-doubt, against the voice that whispers you can't. If you give in to that voice, you lose. But if you stand and fight, you win more often than you think. When you meet a setback, an injury, a rejection, a failed test, you have two choices. You can quit or you can fight harder. I urge you, don't quit. Dig deep, even when you feel like there's nothing left to give. Stand up, wipe the blood from your knuckles, and take another swing. On some days, you'll emerge victorious. On other days, you'll stumble and fall. But victory isn't measured only by the outcome. It's measured by the refusal to stay down. When you rise again after a fall, your character grows. You discover reserves of strength you never knew you had. Every time you climb back up with your fists clenched, you write a new chapter in the story of your resilience. To build that fighting spirit, add one extra repetition to every workout. Run one more kilometer than you planned. Write one more page than you set out to write. Make one more call than you thought you could. Those tiny increments pile up into massive progress over time. If you do 10 push-ups, make it 20. If you study for an hour and 15 minutes. If you network with 5 people, push to talk to 6. Give the world more than it expects and your growth will surprise even you. But growth isn't only about physical effort. It's also about mental toughness. To fight against self-doubt, you need both logic and emotion. Logic helps you plan, measure, and analyze. Emotion gives you fuel. Anger at injustice, frustration at obstacles, hope for a better future. When logic alone runs out of reasons to keep going, let emotion take over. When emotion alone feels too raw, switch back to logic. For instance, if you feel like quitting because it doesn't make sense to keep grinding, remind yourself logically of your goals and deadlines. If you feel like you can't push through a workout, let the anger at giving up on yourself ignite your determination. In the dance between your head and your heart, you forge true strength. I want to tell you about the dog within you. In any fight, dogs aren't the strongest animals. They aren't the fastest, but they are relentless. They refuse to let go of what they've caught on to. They will tug, claw, and bite until they either succeed or collapse from exhaustion. That's the attitude I want you to adopt. Life is a dogfight. Opportunities won't fall into your lap. You have to grab them by the scruff and shake them until they give in. You have to be so persistent that the world notices you and makes room for you. Many people hold back because they underestimate how far persistence can take them. They think, I'll try for a little while, and if it doesn't work, I'll stop. But success is rarely instantaneous. You have to show up day after day, grind after grind, and slowly wear down resistance. Let every no you receive become fuel for your next yes. Let every obstacle you face become a milestone on your path. The more you refuse to quit, the more you condition yourself to victory. There's a big secret about solving problems. It's where true value lies. Millions of people see a problem and complain. Some people solve easy problems, but rare individuals solve hard problems that stump 2 million others. When you crack that puzzle, you don't just move ahead. You catapult yourself into new territory. Companies, schools, and communities will pay for solutions they can't find anywhere else. So when you face a challenge, don't run away. Lean in. Research, experiment, collaborate. Put your head down and grind until you solve it. And when you do, you'll discover that the journey of problem solving taught you more than any easy win ever could. Now I want you to think about character. Character is what people see when the chips are down and the crowds are gone. It's a set of habits you practice in private. Are you punctual? Do you do what you say you'll do? Do you act with integrity even when no one's watching? Your attitude, your willingness to take responsibility, to show respect, to keep your word, determines your altitude in life. The sky is the limit, but only if your character is strong enough to carry you there. That brings us to responsibility and respect. If you borrow money, you pay it back on time. If you promise to meet someone, you show up early. If you receive feedback, you accept it without getting defensive. Responsibility shows you're reliable. Respect shows you value others. Together, they build trust, which is the currency of relationships. When people trust you, they'll open doors for you. New jobs, partnerships, leadership. But if you break trust, you'll always be knocking on closed doors. Let's talk about doubt now, the silent enemy within. Often, the hardest battles we fight are with ourselves. We've all told ourselves, I'm not good enough, or I could never do that. Those thoughts are the whispers of the enemy within. If you don't silence them, they'll sabotage your efforts. So make a habit of feeding your mind with positive words. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you love. Say, I can do this, I'm worthy, I deserve success. Write those phrases on sticky notes and place them around your workspace. Make affirmations part of your morning routine. The moment you wake up, look in the mirror and say, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. There's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. When you decide that failure isn't an option, you tap into a level of focus most people never reach. You stop leaning on excuses and start building solutions. Doubt loses its grip when you flood your mind with conviction. Every "I don't know how" becomes "I will figure it out." Every "I can't" becomes "I'll prove I can." Now, let me share the most difficult thing I ever did: learning to believe in myself. I was born into hardship, raised in unstable homes, failed school tests, and felt worthless more times than I can count. People told me I'd never succeed, but I chose to believe it was possible anyway. I held on to that sliver of hope and fought with everything I had. Slowly, I replaced every "I'm too dumb" with "I'm too dumb. Going to learn." I replaced every "I'm unworthy" with "I deserve a chance." That shift, believing in possibility, changed everything. Every day is a selling job on you. You have to convince yourself that success is possible, that you can make it happen no matter how bad things get. You do that by surrounding yourself with supportive people, by reading books and listening to talks that uplift you, and by speaking words of faith into your own life. The more you feed your faith, the more your doubts starve to death. Underneath every coach's pep talk and every fire and brimstone speech lie a handful of powerful ideas about how we grow, how we motivate ourselves, and how we turn our flaws into fuel. Let's dive deeper into those ideas, beyond the words themselves, and see why they matter, how they work inside our minds, and what you can do to make them real in your life. First, admitting our weakness isn't just an exercise in humility. Psychologists call this a growth mindset, recognizing that our current skills and strengths are temporary and can be improved. When you say, "I'm not fast enough," you're actually pointing to exactly where practice and smart effort will make you stronger. That honesty strips away the lie that talent alone wins. It reminds you that effort, consistency, and learning from failure are what truly build ability. Instead of hiding flaws, you can map them, target them, and chip away at them day by day. Next, finding your why is about connecting every grind session to a deeper purpose. Research shows that when we link effort to personal values, helping our family, serving a community, or fulfilling a dream, we unlock powerful motivation called intrinsic drive. Unlike external rewards, money, praise, trophies, intrinsic drive comes from within, and it sustains us when times get tough. The gazelle and lion analogy captures this. If you're only running because someone else is chasing you, you'll stop when they pause. But if you're running towards something you truly care about, your own why, you'll keep going, even when the path gets rocky. Treating each moment like your last opportunity trains your brain to stay fully present. In cognitive science, this is called deliberate practice, showing up with 100% focus rather than going through the motions. If you approach your workout, your study session, or your sales calls as just another task, your mind drifts, you make mistakes, and you learn little. But if you tell yourself, "This could be the one where I break through," you amp up your attention, notice every detail, and push just a little harder. Over weeks and months, those tiny bursts of extra effort add up into huge leaps forward. The speech also reframes nerves, not as a sign of weakness, but as a signal that you care. That jittery energy is your sympathetic nervous system gearing up. Your body, it can sharpen your senses if you reframe anxiety as excitement. Athletes and performers use this trick all the time. Before you step on stage or into the arena, consciously tell yourself, I'm excited to test myself. That shift in interpretation turns a shaking belly into a racing engine. Then there's the notion of fighting back every single day. Psychologists call this grit, the combination of passion and perseverance that predicts success better than talent alone. Grit isn't heroic 100-hour work weeks. It's making the small choice to keep showing up, to add one more repetition, to send one more email, to write one more page, even when your brain screams, I'm done. These marginal gains, what the British cycling coach Dave Brailsford called the aggregation of marginal gains, compound into breakthroughs you wouldn't notice until you look back 6 months later. But effort alone isn't enough. The speech highlights the balance between logic and emotion. Logic gives you a plan, your training schedule, your study timetable, your business strategy. Emotion gives you the fuel, anger at obstacles, love for your vision, pride in small wins. When your plan feels hopeless, anger or hope can reignite you. When your passion runs too hot and you risk burnout, logic pulls you back and helps you rest or pivot. By consciously alternating between the two, mind in the driver's seat one day, heart in the core, driver's seat the next, you build a resilience that survives both doubt and overwhelm. Solving problems is another pillar. Every hard problem you crack isn't just a hurdle passed, it's value created. Economists call this value creation. You identify a gap no one else has filled. You research and experiment. You find a solution. And suddenly you're the person everyone calls when that challenge appears. Whether it's fixing a broken workflow at work or inventing a new app feature, problem solving puts you in a league of your own. And it's a skill that compounds because each obstacle you overcome makes the next one slightly easier. Underpinning all of this is character, your reputation for reliability, honesty, and respect. Social scientists agree that trust is the currency of every relationship. When you do what you say you will, when you treat others and yourself with integrity, people open doors for you. That's why small habits like being on time, honoring your commitments, and owning your mistakes matter as much as the headline achievements. Character work happens behind the scenes, but it's the foundation that allows all your other efforts to pay off. Finally, the enemy within, self-doubt, can only be beaten with self-talk. Neuroscience shows that our inner dialogue rewires neural pathways over time. If you repeatedly tell yourself, I can't, your brain learns to stumble at obstacles. If you gently correct those thoughts, it might be hard, but I can learn. You build a mental habit of problem solving instead of quitting. Sticky notes with affirmations, daily mirror pep talks, audio recordings of your own encouraging voice. These tools flood your mind with positivity until negative doubts can't hold on. All these ideas come together in a living system. You admit your flaws so you know where to focus. You link effort to purpose so you never run out of gas. You treat each moment as an opportunity to sharpen your edge. You channel nerves into excitement. You show up every single day with a little extra grit. You balance head and heart. You solve problems to create unmatched value. You build character that unlocks doors. And you overwrite doubt with affirmations of possibility. When you weave these principles into your daily life, through morning rituals, honest self-checks, deliberate practice, and clear self-talk, you don't just get stronger or smarter. You become unbreakable. It's not a magic formula. It's a pattern of small choices repeated day after day. And that pattern is the real difference between who eventually reaches their goals and who falls short. So pick one idea here, maybe your inner dialogue, maybe the next extra rep, maybe a journal to track small wins, and make it your project today. Because every great journey begins with a single step. And once you take that step, you'll find the road ahead isn't as daunting as it seemed. You'll discover that your weaknesses, once your biggest obstacles, are now the very engines that drive you forward. Now, let's pause and imagine a tiny workshop in your mind. In this workshop, you have two tools, a bucket of logic and a bucket of emotion. Logic contains plans, schedules, data, and analysis. Emotion contains passion, hope, anger at injustice, and love for your goals. When one bucket runs low, dip into the other. If your plan seems to fail, let your passion reignite you. If your emotions flood you too strongly, let logic calm you down. Keep working with both tools constantly. In their balance, you build indestructible strength. I want you to picture yourself a year from now. You've kept up with the extra reps, the harder miles, the honest conversations, and the daily affirmations. You've solved problems others gave up on. You've built character through responsibility and respect. You've silenced the enemy within with words of possibility. Where are you standing? Look at that image in your right mind. Feel the pride, the energy, the momentum. That's your future self cheering you on right now. So, what will you do today? Will you hit snooze and stay stuck? Or will you rise, stretch, and step into your greatness? Will you make one good choice? Maybe it's going for a quick run, sending that proposal despite your doubts, or calling a friend to apologize and set a boundary. You don't have to move mountains in one day. Just take one step, no matter how small. That step is your promise to yourself that you refuse to stay down. And remember, if you fall, get up. If you falter, try again. If the world doubts you, prove it wrong. Fight with every ounce of energy, every bead of sweat, every drop of passion in your soul. Fight with your voice, your fists, your mind, and your heart. Fight until your last breath. Then, and only then, can you lay down your arms in victory. Your life is a dogfight, but you have the heart of a lion. Let that inner beast rise. Seize each opportunity like your last. Solve problems like your future depends on it, because it does. Feed your mind with power, silence your doubts with determination, and ground your character in honesty and respect. When you do all that, you become unbreakable. Thank you for listening. Now go out there and show the world who you really are. Make them remember your name, not because you're loud, but because your actions speak with unstoppable force. You are stronger than your weaknesses. You are more capable than you know, and the best battles of your life are still waiting. Let's get to work.